Secured overnight financing rates unchanged at 5.31% for May 22nd. Secured overnight financing rates unchanged at 5.31% for May 22nd.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pro Trade Room Plus, and we're here for unemployment claims. My name is Lee Goldstein, Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember that all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes, so trade carefully, please. Okay, give me 1 second. I mean, every day something crazier with technology happens, and this morning we're streaming, and it won't let me turn my volume off. It's just crazy. And now it will. So I don't know why I had to reboot and do the whole thing over. So give me 1 second. I don't know, Chantal, I don't know if you're there. Can you see if we're streaming? I believe everything should be okay. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, sorry, folks. Looks like we're streaming. So, who traded overnight? Yeah, Frank. those the German trade, uh, you got to get up. I mean, look, the only reason I didn't get up is because I'm not 100% and I couldn't get up. I was really tired and I did not get up. That's the first time I didn't get up in quite a few months. Now, look, if you got up, here's what you were faced with. I did a replay this morning. This was France. You got like a 6 tick bracket. It was an awesome move. It almost hit the first targets of 10 and 20. Trust me, it got to that target. Pretty close to it. And what's interesting is when you look at the news was mixed on that report, meaning that it was positive and negative. And then the German report was looked like it was awesome. Just a fantastic move. Blasted through all the targets. I don't see how anybody could have lost money on those trades last night. Now, I'm not crazy about the British trade, and I did not have time to test the British trade this morning. Did anybody trade the British trade? The British reports are absolutely not doing as well as the German and the French. They're just not in general. So you got to, it's probably not, I don't know that it's worth trading the British reports right now. Every now and then they work fine, but overall they've been quite inconsistent. Now, the markets are up this morning. You know, you got to think Nvidia had blowout earnings. And, you know, when I think about how in heaven's name did we make money on a short trade when the move was long? I mean, you talk about a little bit of luck, a little bit of the setup works, a little bit of nobody knows. Um, a lot of people had charts that froze. My charts froze. I'm on a really fast computer. Quite a few people in the room, their charts froze. Larry's charts froze. No one lost money that I know of. Just because the charts freeze doesn't mean that in the background those orders aren't being hit and targets still get hit. The market isn't freezing. It's us. It's your computer. I called the trade desk after we left the room because I wanted to ask them, did they have any freezing? Did they hear anything? And they told me they had absolutely no delays, no freezing on their end of any kind, and no reports of any freezing or anything of any kind. I mean, I called them because I wanted an explanation of what exactly happened. I certainly didn't think that the market froze. The market doesn't freeze unless there's a serious failure of massive proportions to technology. The markets do not freeze because of news. What they said at the trade desk is our computers are just not fast enough. That's what they said. I guess that that's the truth. I mean, I don't have any other answer as to why charts would freeze. And I'm going to reach out to NinjaTrader also because, like I said, I mean, I'm running really fast hardware, and that's two NVIDIAs in a row where the charts froze. But I will say that's two NVIDIAs in a row with unbelievably fast market action. So it really could be as simple as our computers are just not fast enough. That could be the answer. Uh, you know, I'm not delaying, I'm not like wasting time. We're dealing once again with unemployment. Thursday's unemployment. Today is a morning filled with inconsistency. Now, if you got up in the morning and you made good money on the overnight reports, you have to think real carefully about what you want to do with your profits because Thursday jobless claims, no matter what, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It is a coin toss. It's a coin toss trade. Um, Last week, it traded with Philly Fed and building permits and housing starts. And that's another thing. There's now this extra building permits report. Now, I don't know if it's a mistake on investing.com's website. I want to check one other thing, but there is an extra building permits report. Usually it's 2 weeks after the main one, which was last week. Last week we had building permits in Philly Fed, and you notice there's quite a bit of news. Philly Fed has a lot of events, but it was also trade balance as well was in there. Import prices, export prices. So we can't look at last week and say, okay, this is a good way to know what might happen today. It's not the same event,
Politico
okay?
reporting that the
It's
SEC
just
is
not.
urged to approve other
Now, it
Ether
looks
ETFs
like
by
there
House
was
lawmakers.
a
So
pretty
again,
good
House
move on the
lawmakers urging the
NQ and
SEC
an
to approve
interesting
Ether
move on gold.
ETFs.
But that doesn't mean it's going to follow through today with the same type of move. Now, I took the liberty of, trying to download and grab as many videos as I could. 2 weeks ago, we had unemployment claims by itself. We're not, so let's just take a look. 2 weeks ago, and it had a pretty darn good move. The NQ had a great move. Okay. There's no denying it. Gold also had a pretty good move. Now, we were not live. I was not live. People made money. Absolutely. I remember feeling foolish because I didn't trade it, but that was the last time that I have any video to look at all that came reasonably close to unemployment trading by itself. The weeks in between are PPI with unemployment, GDP with unemployment, mornings where the ECB announced their rates. There's no way to know for real what really to expect with unemployment claims. It's just the way it is. Um, if you like trading it, you can trade it. For us, this has not been. I prefer the the PPIs, the CPIs, the GDPs. Those are the ones that we have setups for. But we have a setup for the NQ and for gold on unemployment, but it is inconsistent, and it's inconsistent because this event just doesn't take place the same way every week. It's just that simple. That's the reality. The markets are very bullish this morning. Does that add extra risk? It might, could. Um, when I look at our accounts, all right, everybody knows that for a couple of weeks we had some crummy trades. I mean, that's the reality. They weren't all crummy. There were plenty of good ones, but we've had some stops, and that's that's life with news trading. We know it goes in cycles. Sometimes you go where you can't do anything wrong for weeks. Sometimes it's like good and bad all mixed up in between. And then sometimes you can't buy a break. You just go through periods where nothing you do works. we went through a short period where it felt like there were a few more bad trades than we would have liked. But when I look at our accounts, okay, my cash account is almost back to 25. It's like $6 off of 25,000. It had gotten almost down to 22. It was in the 23s. And my Top Step account is $35 away from where I signed up for Top Step. So there's a reason for that. Even through bad trades, if you're extremely picky about what you trade, it's going to help you to keep your account balance as good as possible. And it's going to help you to not blow out too many prop accounts. Now, I know there were probably some blown out prop accounts because there were a couple of bad trades that people traded. And, look, it happens. That's why when we sign up for these prop accounts, you try to grab them when they're, $20 a month, $23 a month, whatever. So that if you have to start over, you're not losing anything but time in most cases. Obviously, you don't want to blow up an account that you've spent months building and building and building and getting funded on, right? But it doesn't change the fact that you've got to trade the reports that are going to give you the best opportunity for profit. Nothing changes that fact. You must trade the reports that give you the best opportunity for profit. So what does that mean? It means that you don't trade the coin tosses, right? You don't want to trade the coin tosses unless you want to. And you know what I mean when I say that. If you want to, fine. But know that it's extra risk. Because look, when I don't have any videos to show us, to give us motivation to trade unemployment claims. Now, I was curious if you notice, like I said, there's this extra building permits report here. I wanted to look at. Now, my dogs are going to bark here because it's thundering, so there's nothing I can do about it. So I apologize, but it's thundering here, and I got one dog that's drooling all over me because she just mentally ill becomes a mess. If the world has even the most minor change in it, she freaks. Um, I don't know why I agree to watch these dogs. I can't stand it anymore. Forex Factory. I was looking to see if that building permits is also on Forex Factory. Just out of curiosity, we're already Thursday. It's already the holiday. It's hard to believe. So on Forex Factory, I don't see the building permits, and I don't see the building permits on Financial Juice. And I have one more extra economic calendar that we look at, Trading Economics, which is actually a very nice calendar, tradingeconomics.com. And I don't see building permits anywhere. So I'm thinking that the building permits might just be a mistake. Let's see if there's actually a result. Because every time I think that, it becomes not a mistake. So here's what I would do. I mean, I don't have interest in trading Thursday claims. I know that sometimes it can work, and that's life. I don't care if I miss the trade. I'm working on building these accounts, and when we have inconsistent reports that aren't working that great, I don't have a problem not trading them with live money. It just doesn't matter to me. And that's the one thing that took me years to learn. It took me years to learn it. I don't know what I'm going to do with this dog. I mean, I can't. work when she's breathing, and it's so disgusting. I just can't bear it. Her breath smells so bad. She's breathing right into my face. You can't see her because she's right where my hands are. It's terrible. Here's the way that I would set up. So we have two setups for unemployment claims. I've got the NQ on the left chart, and I don't want to be, what's the word, proven right by the event not working. I'd rather feel foolish for not trading it and have the event work. Okay, I'd rather feel foolish. So we have a bracket of 25, and we've used between 25 and 30 on this report on the NQ, and we have targets of 12 and 25 with a stop of 35. And I would definitely use a target 1. Break even -3 is fine. And I'll save the template for next time. I call it Thursday claims just to save space. So that's my NQ. And we can check the bracket. To me, it's not even worth, I mean, why do I, if I don't want to trade it live, why do I want to trade it in my prop account? I mean, to me, the idea of the prop account is to
Order
build it
submitted.
up and to get it so that we could take money at
Order
it,
canceled.
right? So I don't want to trade a report that I'm not dying to trade in my cash account. In other words, there's times when you think to yourself, oh, it's not that great a report. I'll trade it in my prop account. But is that the best way to treat your prop account? I'm not so sure that that's
In
the
10
best
minutes time
way
now, at
to
the
treat
bottom
it.
of the hour,
Okay?
we see the release of the weekly initial jobless claims number. Forecast
Let me
220k
just
on the
label
prior
this NQ.
222k, with a range of 245k to 215k expected.
And then we have
With
a
continued
gold
jobless
setup
claims, forecast 1 spot
on the right
793
side
million on the prior 1 spot 794 million. Range of 1 spot 803 million to 1 spot
and
75
our
million
gold
expected.
setup
With this, we see the release of the Chicago National Activity Index, forecast 0 spot 125 on the prior 0
829.59.
spot 15.
You cannot believe what's going on here uh, with these animals. They're so, if it thunders, dogs get so crazy. We have a bracket of 8, and we have gold targets of 9 and 19. I assume you all can hear me okay. Not one person has said one word except like 20 minutes ago. Can you all hear me? Target 1 stop move, break even -3. Just give me a heads up that I'm not talking into the wind. We have a target of 20. Thanks, Greg. All right, so 829.59 on gold, bracket of 8, targets of 9 and 19. Break even -3 on the target 1 stop move and a stop of 20. Now, of course, look, we're smart people. We know we could also trade micros on these reports. Again, if they're not working, they're not going to work better with micros. You're just going to lose or make less money, if you trade it with micros. I still think ultimately, there are some inconsistent reports that have such a good opportunity for profit because of the way they return profits that you take the risk. This report has such a history of inconsistency that you have to really think carefully about whether it's worth it. So, again, I always feel foolish if it works beautifully, but that's how it works. I wanted to check my brackets on gold. Remember, the gold market opens at 820. That's why you're seeing a little bit of volatility there.
Order submitted.
Probably not the best time to check brackets.
Order canceled.
And then I'll put the time back to 0. I may have to get up and pull this dog out of this office and get her out of here. Put the time back. And she's on Ativan also. It just doesn't help. All right. Anybody out there have crazy dogs? So we've got gold on the right. She doesn't do well with trazodone, Greg. It just doesn't work for her. We've tried it. Just doesn't help her. Nothing helps her is the truth. She can't be helped. It's unfortunate. Bill, that's really funny. All right, so we've got about 6 minutes. You know, I can show you I've got unemployment with Philly Fed going back into the mid-April. Okay. With Philly Fed, it doesn't really give us a test of what's going to happen today because today is not Philly Fed. Okay. That was that was a whipsaw in sim on the NQ. That probably would not have been a good profit. And gold looks like it was a little bit difficult also. That was with Philly Fed. Now, I'm not finding losers on purpose. Then we had May 2nd. I believe I showed us May 2nd. May 2nd worked. And then March 7th, I think we did not have
now at the bottom of the hour. We do see the release of the weekly jobless
a
claims
lot
numbers
of
from the US.
news.
Initial claims, the forecast is 220K on the prior 222K, with a range of
This was March
245 to
7th. I believe March 7th
215K
had
expected.
trade balance with
Continued
it.
claims, forecast 1.793 million on the prior 1.794 million, with a range of
Gold on the right,
1.803 million to
NQ
1.75
on the
million
left.
expected. We also see the
NQ
release of the
appeared to
Chicago
work
National Activity
fine.
Index, forecast
Okay.
0.125
And gold
on the
had
prior
a good move.
0.15.
So you're going to get your whipsaw days. You're going to get your days that work. It's like we said, it's a 50-50. I know whenever I say I'm not trading it live, it's a great winner. It's a 50-50. I mean, the reality is it's a coin toss. It could work and it might not. It could work and it might not. I could trade it. If I were going to choose one of them to trade in my Top Step account or my cash account, I would do the NQ. I think the NQ is a better opportunity. I think it just has been moving better than gold has been moving on this report. Check your time sync. Don't forget, check your time sync. I'm so upset. I'm more upset that I didn't get up. I actually woke up in the middle of the night last night, 3:28. So I knew I had missed France. And I didn't have enough time to get my computer turned on. I wouldn't have had enough time to have gotten my computer turned on to trade Germany. So, and I was so unconscious, I just literally stumbled back into bed. But I had the expectation that, look, building permits came out early, and that's weird. It's exactly as forecast. That just seems weird to me. This building permits. Something just doesn't seem right about that. It's the only calendar that has it. Now we will be back at 9:15 for a bunch of events. Flash manufacturing, US flash manufacturing. We have a minute and a half. I'm just watching and I'm actually doing something. All right, so you could see that the NQ is making high after high after high as we are watching it. Gold is sitting above the VWAP.
1 minute remaining. I'll lead with the weekly initial jobless claims.
In general, I trade most reports, whether the index is making, the instrument that we're trading, whether it's making new highs or new lows, or most reports we trade. Alexander, I see your message in chat, and I will absolutely check your machine ID, no problem. So I hope you hear me. Okay, we got 15 seconds.
10 seconds.
So the brackets will show up.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
Now, that was a pretty choppy fill.
215K,
Order
215K.
Gold,
That is lower than forecast.
very choppy. Gold wound up shooting through the first target.
Higher than forecast, 1.793
I'm guessing no
million.
one's trading
The
gold,
Chicago
though.
National Activity Index
People
minus
don't like
0
trading gold if they don't have to,
minus 0.25,
because it can be very
that's lower than forecast,
squirrely.
0.125. Looking to the markets, not much of a reaction here. A little bit of strength in the dollar, a tiny bit of weakness in the S&P, more whipsawing than anything.
Now, the NQ, you're not stopped yet, but it's not going to work. It looks like it's going to stop. Maybe, you could get lucky. Everyone will tell me what happened.
Prior revisions here as well.
My
Initial claims,
sim trade is not over.
Order filled.
From
It's over now.
Order
the continuing
filled.
claims,
Gold,
the prior was revised down to 1.786 million from 1.794
we'll look at the video.
million.
So Todd lost on MNQ. MNQ generally moves pretty close to what the NQ moves. They're not 100% exact. If you look at the numbers, there were less jobless claims. The Fed wants more. That's the reality. The Fed wants more. Yet this market is pushing up. Okay? The market's pushing up. My minor concern was because of the bullishness of the market, it could affect the report. I generally, if it's a report that I trade, I still would trade it. Okay, maybe I'm stupid, but I still would trade it. Did anyone else trade in their prop? Did anyone trade cash? Give me feedback as to exactly what happened to you on this report. And hey, I want to thank a lot of people who are starting to watch our streams. If you hit the like button, that would be awesome on YouTube. And hit the notification bell so you know the next time that we're streaming. We'll look at the video in a second. So Rav, yep, it's like I said, Ravi, I didn't want to lose that $350. We have a big stop on this report. It's too darn inconsistent. That's what I didn't want to do. I did not want to do that, and we did not get a good reaction in the news. It's the hardest thing in trading is to sit back and not take the trade. It's harder than anything because one of the most difficult things that we deal with is the fear of missing out, right? Isn't that one of the hardest things you have to deal with? The fear of missing out. I don't struggle with that nearly as much as most of our other members, okay? Because I've been doing this way longer. Dutchy had a small 24 tick winner using a trap trade. Dutchy has his own system. He's a lifetime software user. I'm turning off my setups. Now, it might have been an interesting setup to think about a gold change in direction. Too much, there was just a little bit too much going on for me this morning to think of a third setup this morning. But let's look at the video because it was not a good response to the news. It was not a breakout. Let me just save the video if I can. Give me 1 second. Today's the 23rd. All right, so here's the video, and here's the problem. So here's the problem. So if we go to the time of the trade, it almost looked like it might not. Let's take a look. I don't want to say. Dutchy, I'd love for you to do me a favor. Send me an email how you set up your trap trades. I would love to teach people how you set up your trades. If you're willing to do that, send me an email to help@10minutetrades.com. That would be really greatly appreciated. And if you do that, I'll do something nice for you. So you could see that it never followed through. It became almost in sim, which is not reliable. Looked like it almost hit the first target, but it was just the kind of move that creates a failed trade on a breakout. I mean, honestly, it looked like the kind of move that was not going to work. And it didn't. One more time on the NQ. It just shoots down, immediately changes direction. Gold did the same thing. But then gold shot down and hit the first target. You would have had time, if you wanted to move your stop into safety. Gold might have made a little bit of money on the first target today. It would really depend where you got filled. Okay, depending on the fill. I understand, Ravi. I get it. You've made money the last 2 weeks. That's fine. It's totally understand. And Frank, you're saying you made 12 ticks. So everybody also manages their trades differently, right? So it's a big, not everybody moves their stop. Not everybody protects their profit. Some people use smaller targets, right? There's no law that says you have to manage exactly the way that I manage. All right. So not a great move, not an easy trade, but very inconsistent. And it just adds, today adds to the inconsistency of this particular event. It is the way it is. There's nothing we can do about it. I want to thank everybody for watching on YouTube. It seems like our streams are working pretty well. So we'll probably start advertising them. We're not advertising them yet, except for the one a week that we've been doing. But we're going to try and do 4 or 5 a week. Oh, that's great, Dutchy. Thanks. At your leisure. So I want to thank everybody on YouTube. I'm going to close out the stream. Thanks everybody on YouTube. And we are streaming tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock for Core Durable Goods.